A wall of fire tears across the valley one heartbeat, and the entire convoy is gone. Staff Sergeant Harper Nyx. Call sign Viper-7 hits the ground hard. The blast from an IED flipped her JLTV like a toy. Now everything burns. Her ears ring. Her ribs ache. Her left shoulder hangs loose. Smoke, diesel, and the iron scent of blood choke the air. Through the haze, she spots silhouettes fighters from the Karaz front, advancing through the wreckage with AK-103s raised, shouting in a language sharp with fury. Harper grips her FN Scar L, checks the mag half full. Her H&K USP tactical still holstered. She flicks on her radio static. Only fragments of command chatter crackle through. 4 KIA confirmed, remaining units withdrawing. They've pulled out. Command just buried her by signal. She presses her back to a scorched fragment of armor plating. Teeth clenched as she jerks her shoulder back into place. Pain flashes white, but pain means she's still alive. 1 full mag, 1 half, sidearm, knife, IFAK, cracked GPS. Almost no water and inventory of survival. Not hope. She's roughly 40 kilometers behind enemy lines, deep in the jagged valleys of the Shadewild alone. A low hum rolls overhead. A drone. Harper freezes, counting each beat of its engine until it fades. She crawls uphill, every movement deliberate, every breath measured. Below her, the remains of the convoy glow like a funeral pyre, shadows twisting in the heat. She tapes her ribs and drinks nearly her last mouthful of warm water, then stares out at the dark expanse stretching endlessly west. Somewhere down there, the Karaz front is celebrating her death. Somewhere behind them, her own command is already moving on. But Harper Nyx isn't finished. She wipes soot from her face, sets the rifle across her knees, and studies the constellations. Primitive navigation, but stars don't lie. Her father's voice echoes in memory. Assess, move, survive. They left me, she murmurs, voice steady now. Let's see how far I can make that mistake hurt. Far below, faint voices ripple through the trees, search teams sweeping the valley. Harper kills her light, slides deeper into the dark, and the hunt begins. If you're still watching, congratulations, you survived the first ambush. But this mission isn't over. Hit subscribe and lock in for part 2. Harper Nyx is just beginning her counterattack. Drop your location in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? Soldier. The night is her only ally. Under a moon that cuts through the smoke, Harper Nyx moves like a ghost across the slopes of the Shadewild. Every step is calculated, no sound, no silhouette, no second chances. The stars are her compass. Her father's voice echoing from memory. Find north. Trust your instincts. And keep moving. The valley below still burns where the convoy died. Distant cheers rise from the Karaz front search teams. They think the American is gone. Harper presses her hand against her taped ribs. Breath shallow. She's running on adrenaline and sheer willpower. Every muscle in her body begs her to stop, but stopping means being found. She travels west through the brush, crawling beneath thorny vines and slipping through shadows. A flash of movement, a patrol. 30 fighters, sweeping the forest line with cheap night vision scopes. She freezes, half buried in mud, listening to their chatter. Words blur, but tone doesn't. They're hunting someone. Her. When they pass, Harper exhales and begins to follow, not toward them, but with them. She shadows their movement, using their noise as camouflage. For hours she studies their formation, undisciplined, sloppy, overconfident. Their radio operator keeps checking in too often, broadcasting exact positions. Rookie mistake. At dawn, the patrol rests near a dry creek. Harper slips into position on a ridge above. Through the optic of her FN Scar L, she tracks the man at the rear, a young fighter lugging crates of ammo. He's separated from the group by 20 meters. Her pulse steadies. Breath slows. Finger finds the trigger. The shot breaks the morning silence. One suppressed crack and chaos erupts. Shouts, confusion, gunfire in every direction. The patrol scrambles for cover. Convinced they're ambushed by multiple shooters, Harper is already gone, sliding downslope into thicker brush, leaving nothing but the echo of fear behind. She keeps moving until her legs give out beneath a canopy of black pines. Her hands tremble not from guilt, but exhaustion. She's been awake nearly 30 hours, hunted every step, yet somewhere inside, a cold clarity settles in. This is no longer about escape. It's about control. As the sun rises over the ridgeline, Harper wipes the dirt from her face and whispers to herself, "You hunt me. I learn you." A distant thump echoes through the forest, the unmistakable sound of a drone's rotors closing in. Harper freezes. The game is no longer just on the ground. Gunfire rips through the forest, shouts, rotor buzz, and chaos echoing in the dark. Staff Sergeant Harper Nyx doesn't run anymore. She adapts. She hunts back. It's been 3 days since the ambush. She's crossed nearly 30 kilometers through the jagged wilderness of the Shadewild, moving only by night, burying herself in the cold soil by day. The enemy grows restless, patrols thicker. Drones circling wider, but that's good. Every extra man they send after her is one less fighting someone else. Her ammunition is down to 20 rounds. She counts them every night, like prayers. One for survival, one for vengeance. Hunger claws at her stomach. She chews pine bark and drinks rainwater enough to keep moving, not enough to live. Her ribs still burn with every breath. From a ridge, Harper watches a dirt road below. 3 trucks crawl through the fog, technical vehicles armed with DSHK machine guns, hauling crates stenciled in Cyrillic. Fuel, ammo, rations, opportunity. She waits until nightfall. The forest cools. Insects fall silent. When the guards grow lazy, she moves silent as the wind. She slides under the last truck, slices the fuel lines, and crawls back into the brush. Diesel leaks into the dirt, sharp and metallic. She scrapes the tracer compound from a handful of spent rounds, just enough to mark a path for fire, then waits. The first flicker catches near a leaking drum. The blast that follows isn't cinematic, it's jagged. Rolling, real. Fire eats through metal. Then ammo. Then men. The valley turns into a furnace. Shouts twist into panic. Harper doesn't flinch. She watches the inferno she created and whispers, "You left me. I'm still here." By dawn, the smoke has thinned. She's miles away, crouched by a mountain stream, trembling from exhaustion but smiling faintly. On intercepted radio chatter, they're saying her name, now distorted by static, the Ghost Soldier. But ghosts still bleed. Her ribs throb. Her left arm trembles with every reload. Her eyes raw from sleepless nights. Ahead lies her only route west, a narrow pass guarded by a fortified checkpoint. Sandbags. 8 men, 2 heavy guns. She studies the layout through her optic, memorizing every movement. Behind her, engines growl, reinforcements closing fast. Trapped between pursuit and fortress, Harper exhales. Calm, resolute. 8 targets. 1 way out. She slings her rifle, adjusts her stance, and mutters, "Let's make it count." The first shot will decide whether she escapes or becomes the legend they already fear. The first burst shatters the silence, 8 rifles answering 1. In that instant, Harper Nyx decides if she's going down, she's taking the whole checkpoint with her. The pass ahead is her only way west. The Karaz front built this one right, sandbags, mounted DSHKs, overlapping arcs of fire, 8 men visible, maybe more hidden. Harper studies their rhythm through her optic. Every movement timed and predictable. She's got 16 rounds left, precision over power. At sunset, the wind sweeps dust through the canyon, cloaking her crawl toward the ridge. She's been awake for 40 hours, running on instinct and will. The sling of her FN Scar L bites into her shoulder as she steadies her breathing slow. Surgical, detached. Shift change. One guard lights a cigarette. Another lowers his weapon to stretch. Harper exhales and squeezes the trigger. One shot center mass. The man falls before the smoke leaves his lips. Second shot DSHK gunner. The heavy weapon dies before it can speak. Then the valley erupts. Bullets rip through rock and dirt as she rolls. Repositions. Fires again controlled. Ruthless. 3 more down. The survivors panic, shouting into broken comms, firing blind into shadows. Harper's ribs scream, but her aim stays cold. When the firing finally fades, the pass is quiet. She slides down, scavenging what she can: 2 full mags of AK ammo, a water canteen, and a battered field radio blinking green. Nearby, an abandoned AK-103 lies half buried in dust. She slings it across her back heavier, louder, but it'll have to do. She hesitates over the radio. Broadcasting is suicide. Direction finders will home in fast, but silence means death too. She keys the mic. Voice steady. Raw. This is Viper-7, Staff Sergeant Harper Nyx. If anyone's listening, I'm alive. Operating west of Grid Sierra 4-1. Request acknowledgement. For half a minute, silence holds. Then faint beneath the static, a voice answers. Copy. Viper-7. Transmission received. Stand by. Her eyes widen. After 11 days alone, someone finally heard her. She exhales, almost smiling, then the ground trembles. A low hum builds on the horizon, growing sharper. The sound of rotors, closing fast. Harper tightens her grip on the AK, eyes scanning the sky. She knows the risk. Every transmission is a flare in the dark, but silence means death. Hours later, when the sun is long gone, the first rotors finally answer her call. The night sky splits with twin roars, the rescuers and the hunters, converging on the same valley. Harper breathes once, calm as the wind before a storm. Guess it's a race now. Searchlights cut through the smoke. 2 worlds converge, rescue and death both racing toward one woman, Harper Nyx, Viper-7. Hours after her transmission, the first rotors finally answer her call. The night sky trembles as 2 UH-60mm Blackhawks dive low through tracer fire, flares streaking like burning comets. Her signal worked, but so did the enemy's triangulation. Fighters from the Karaz front swarm the ridges, RPG-7s whistling through the air. The first blast tears the hillside apart, showering her with rock and shrapnel. Harper doesn't freeze. She moves fast, precise, instinct taking over. The AK-103 bucks in her hands, harder than her old rifle, its thunder echoing through the canyon. Controlled bursts, 3 targets down, 2 more pinned behind stone. She sprints down slope, lungs burning, the world collapsing into heat and noise. The first Blackhawk flares over the LZ, the second banking hard to provide suppressive fire with its M134 minigun. Dirt and flame whip through the air as the canyon becomes a maelstrom of light and sound. Harper dives behind a boulder, reloads, and pushes forward, every step pulled from sheer defiance. Viper-7. This is Rescue 1. We've got eyes on you. Move now. She runs, not to survive, but to finish what started. A round grazes her thigh. She stumbles, teeth clenched, but never stops. The world narrows to rhythm shoot. Move, breathe. When the rifle clicks empty, she draws her H&K USP tactical, firing through dust and chaos as the rope team descends. A Delta operator grabs her wrist, hauling her up through the storm. The Black Hawk lifts, rotor wash scattering embers like dying stars. Below, the valley burns, the same valley that tried to bury her. Inside the cabin, the medic kneels, checking vitals. Harper waves him off, voice raw but steady. I'm fine, just make sure they know I wasn't done yet. The team leader grins beneath his visor. You're a legend, Sergeant. As the Black Hawk banks toward the horizon, dawn breaks, first light spilling over the Shadewild. the forest that couldn't kill her. Harper leans back, eyes heavy, pulse steady. She wasn't rescued. She earned her way home. In every war, orders break, plans collapse, and people get left behind. But survival isn't luck, it's will. Harper Nyx proved that sometimes. The most dangerous soldier on the battlefield is the one everyone already marked as dead. Because when you're left to die, you stop fighting for command. You start fighting for yourself, and that's when you become unstoppable.